Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Joy Matters. Following up on last week's episode, I wanted to talk a bit more about creativity. So today we'll talk about how to boost your creativity, going wide and then going deep. So let's get started. Last week, if you remember, we talked a bit about Shelley Carson's book, The Creative Brain. And I mentioned that she has 7 different types of creativity that she talks about in her book. And today we're going to talk about those 7 types again and what they have to do with deep joy and how creativity can actually increase your deep joy in life. So the quote that I shared last week, and I wanted to share again this week, is developing our creative potential will lead to greater success and fulfillment in our personal and professional lives. So let's dig in a little deeper to that. So Shelley, as I mentioned, uses 7 different types of creativity, or suggests 7 types. The first one, they follow the acronym CREATES, so that's quite clever. But the first one is about connecting. So this is a type of creativity where we look broadly. We become defocused. We look broadly at a variety of different domains. We're looking for multiple solutions, and we're looking for connections between those different domains. Once we get through the 7 of these, we're going to take a look at how this applies to another design model that we use often in the world of software and product design. So stay with me till we get there. The second type of creativity that Shelley talks about is reason, how we manipulate the information we've gotten, how we go about solving a problem, how we go about choosing goals and making decisions. The third one is to envision, to think visually, to see art and shapes and patterns emerge across similarities. And this is often where our imagination comes from. Now, we know that some people think they're not imaginative, but I think when you see these 7 different varieties of creativity, you'll see how some of them might be more normal for you, but some of them might open opportunities that you hadn't thought to try. So stick with me. The next one is absorb for the A. This is where we look to new experiences and new ideas. So it might not be visual, as in the prior one, but we're looking at new domains. We're trying to gather knowledge. We're being fascinated by ideas we hadn't considered before. This is where mindfulness and openness actually comes in. The next one is to transform. So this is where we start now to gather those ideas, to put them together. We're becoming self-conscious. We're becoming maybe agitated or dissatisfied with the way things are. We're going to start to transform that kind of negative energy into art, into a creation. We're often driven by mood and energy. So if you've noticed artists, for example, we know like Van Gogh, for example, he was in this sort of creative rage sometimes, perhaps consumed by mental illness, but regardless of that, it was his mood and his negative energy that pushed him to create the most amazing art. And this applies in other domains as well. The next one is to evaluate or to judge the value of ideas. So we're going to see in this other product model I'll show you in a moment how there's 2 points of evaluation. We have to look with a critical eye. Once we go wide and then we decide to go deep and we create something, not everything is worth going deep and not everything we create will be fabulous. So we need a moment of creativity to really evaluate what's worthwhile and what's good and what's useful. And the last one is to stream. And this is where the flow zone comes in, where we talk about this creative moment where time floats away. I know that when I'm painting paintings, for example, time just evaporates and it's not there anymore. I have no idea if it's been an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours that I've been focused in painting. The same can occur when I'm writing or sometimes in a movie, right? You're just absorbed in the moment and time floats away. And it's an important element of creativity. It's an important option. It's an important moment for our brain when we actually are able to focus that energy and really enjoy that moment of creating. So like I mentioned, there are 7 of these different kinds of creativity. These are the 7 we've gone through. And as you can see, some of them go wide and they search for options. They look for connections. They go across domain. They look for patterns. Other ones come in and go deep. And they are where we create out of this mess of stuff that we've seen and the patterns that have emerged. So the other design model I wanted to share with you is sometimes used in design thinking or product design, and it's called a double diamond model. But the reason that we use it and the reason that it works for product design is because of these 7 different methods of creativity. On the left, we go wide. That's why the triangle goes wide first. We are examining options. We're discovering options. We're looking across domains for interesting ideas and how we might put them together. The second step is we come narrow again. We start to explore and define, and to decide which idea is worth taking to the next step. We then go into the design part of the triangle and we go wide again. We look for optional solutions, optional designs, and then again, we dive in deep. We come back together to the final point on the right where we've actually created something. So we have 2 points of evaluation, right? The center where we have to decide which option we're going to pursue, and the final point on the right where we decide if what we've created has actually solved the problem, has actually become a nice design, is actually useful, and so forth. So we use this in the world of software, but many product designers use this type of design thinking model as well. So my reason to encourage all of you about creativity and to understand the 7 options for creativity, the 7 methods of creativity, is to remind you that deep joy includes this capability for creativity, to not ignore going wide. Sometimes we think that maybe we are not creative, we're not inspired, but we have forgotten to go wide, to look at all of these other things that we learn and see and try in our life, and how those can affect how we create the next thing that we create. We do, as especially when you're young in your career, for example, you want to go deep. You want to expand your capabilities going deep, like in the T-shaped skills we talked about last week. You want to go deep, but you also want to go wide, because sometimes you have no idea where a creative answer, a creative way to solve a problem is going to come from. And by going wide, you open up the opportunities for finding an interesting answer that you didn't even know existed. So I put a whole bunch of things around here. Some of these are things I'm a part of. I hope that you will give each of them or some of them a try throughout your life. If you are feeling a little stifled in your creativity, I would encourage you to pick up something new. Try something you haven't tried before. The process of opening your mind to a new option, to a new skill, to a new topic might spark something you didn't even know was in there. So in Shelley's model, she has the 7 types of creativity. 3 of them are really about going wide. 3 of them are about going deep. And the last one is about the 2 points of reason, the 2 points at which we make an evaluative judgment about what's worth pursuing. So I hope that you will continue to work on your T-shaped skills, not only the deep ones, but the wide ones as well. So how do you boost your creativity? Go wide, go deep, and repeat the process, right? So where do you draw your creativity from? I hope that each of you will look for a new option this week, a new way to expand your creativity and your options, to look at the world in a fresh new way. We have an amazing opportunity coming in 2021 for the world to be better than it was in 2020. And I hope you will all be a part of that with all of your creative energy and all of your deep joy. Thanks again. Bye-bye.